Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Got Cantu on my side. I got Stebby on the other side. Boys, happy hump day on this beautiful October 15th night, 9:44 p.m. Central Time here in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. Stebby, of course, you're doing your running. Cantu, you're doing your teaching. How the boys are doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Kind of dead. Just came back from a 9 mile run, but I did see both y'all boys started putting in work on the cardio.
Hold up. 9 miles. Let's get to that first.
Wait, today?
Who is
Yeah.
doing 9 miles?
For fun?
Yeah,
Hell no.
it's part of my goal for the month, so I got to get it done.
For the month? I mean, I think you already hit the month right there. 9 miles. Shoot.
Oh, I mean, like the number that I'm reading for the end of the month. And the end of the month, I'm trying to go for probably like, just for this whole month, like 150, 160. I'm going to try to reach that goal of miles this month. So I'm already at 79.
Spooky miles.
Yeah, spooky
Look at
miles.
you. Look at you. Yeah,
But
I mean,
I did see both of y'all started cardio
Hey,
too, so the full
I mean,
scene.
let me- we might have to make this into a run club at this point. Shoot.
The
But
full
yeah.
steam run
I
club.
mean, with all this money coming off the Astros books, I mean, shit, they might have some money to throw at us. So I mean, might as well get in shape, huh?
Hey, get it going. Shoot. Why not? At this point,
Nah,
why not just start paying us that money too? Shoot.
I'm just on the treadmill. I have to use up that gym membership, and I'm just wasting money, right? So
I had to
Easy.
put mine on hold.
yeah, easy. Like I try to get a little pump in, and then finish it off with like incline, about like 7% incline, just walking it up. So I'm trying to burn those calories too.
No, but that's where incline low key be where it at. That's where like you could burn a lot of like fat walking
Yeah,
like that, and just like because you kind of like you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
The local park that we're at, running that part of the incline, that's a BITCA right there. Trying to continue running and walking at the same time. As soon as I hit the incline, I got to try to figure out how to hit that, keep running, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean,
There we
shoot,
go.
at this point, we might as well turn this podcast into a run club.
Full steam goon runners club.
Full scene.
Hey, he already knows. He already
Hey, think Kevin still got it or what? He can still run.
I think so.
Yeah. Military guy.
Yeah.
How fast is his mile?
He's a tough guy. I'm not even knowing, Kev. How fast is your mile, bud?
Yeah, put this on the chat. And I mean, why
I
not?
don't know.
Because
Mile
it is
times on the
Astros
chat.
off-season.
Said he retired.
Astros off-season.
He had a blowout.
Nah, I've been done. Don't tell me it's the hammy because it is the hammy that
Yeah.
we've all been.
Nah.
How many saying a joke? Hey,
Yeah, I think last time I went running with
Listen.
Kev, he ran like one lap in 18 minutes. 1 mile,
Yeah.
18 minutes.
dang, Kevin. You gotta lay out those
Off
tacos,
and
bro.
on.
We gotta lay off those twisted teas.
Damn, Angel just called and just like
Hey, Zoe, you're a little laggy on my.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Over here in the Matrix and stuff. Over here doing freaking trick shots.
All right.
Scaring us.
Should I
y'all
start
always
off?
might as well start off since my
Sounds
You
like
start off?
sounds like Chat GPT's trying to take over over there, Zoe. You froze.
Man, those are already in the off season right now. All right. Well, I guess I can start it off. Well, so intro, obviously, right? We just introduced ourselves, but we have a lot to talk about this offseason. We have Joe Espada, Dan Brown, some moves coming in for the Astros coaching staff. I'm sure you heard those. We're just going to give you our thoughts on those. The Astros do have some Gold Glove finalists, and just a reminder, Luis Garcia, he's still out there, but we'll see what's happening with him. But before we get started, you can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And it's a little slow in the offseason, but we'll try to get you some content for you to interact with. So don't forget to like, retweet, or repost, whatever it is called now. And you can find us whenever you have, anywhere you get our podcast from, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. But Stefan, big moves coming in. And we kind of predicted these before the offseason, even happened once the Astros were eliminated. Some moves in the coaching staff, some moves, we even talked about potentially if like Joe Espada could get moved or anything like that. But from Dana Brown and Joe Espada conference, we did get some insight from there. And a big name. I know you're big on this guy too, Esteban. Victor Caratini. He is going to be a free agent this year, and Victor Caratini is a guy that no matter where you put him in, pitch hit, catching, first base, you're gonna get some quality playing time from him, defensively or offensively. And this is what Dana Brown had to say on Victor Caratini. He said, and I quote, "We have interest in bringing him back." And honestly, with a young Yanni Diaz, having a veteran presence who can control that pitch is already not be good for the Astros. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for it. I love everything about the whole aspect of Victor Caratini. He just brings depth and just has clutch at bats for us. There's moments where that he comes up and he could be the home run guy or he could be the walk off guy or just the guy that pretty much placed the runner home. And that's what I like about Victor. He's not really bothered by coming in any situation, whether it's off the bench. He's going to produce. Either he could be on the bench for maybe 20 at bats, and then he's going to come up out of nowhere and, he'd go 2 for 3, whatever, just do whatever he has to get done. So I just feel like I like the depth to give Yainer days off, and then also say if Walker needs the day off, you got somebody that kind of can play first base as well, very well. So, I mean, I'm all for it as well. And then, say that the Astros do eventually want to bring up maybe Walker Yannick to get the little taste of the big leagues later on towards the end of next season or mid-season or whoever they decided to give the chance at the catcher position. You obviously want them to be surrounded by veteran presences like Yainer. Well, Yainer's transitioning into a veteran now as also, that's what I mean. But especially Caratini, somebody that's really a veteran in the league.
No, absolutely. I think it'll be great for the Astros. Like I said, just all around baseball guy, high IQ, great at bats. Like what you're gonna get. But we got
Also,
Zoe back.
You can't count out his wheels. He just showed the wheels a little bit on the base path this year.
Yeah, of course. So, are you with us? Or are you still like?
I just don't know what
behind?
happened. Can you hear me clearly now at this point?
I think Mr. Certain was trying to hack you because we were bashing him.
Gosh, had to be Mr.
Eddie on the chat. What's up, Eddie? As well, but yeah, look at that crazy and getting bashed on the best pods. So
what did I miss?
I just tell people where they can follow us, and we just started on the Victor Caratini talk. We're discussing how Dana Brown has interest bringing Victor Caratini back, and we're talking about how it's a good thing for the Astros just because Victor Caratini is a guy that wherever you put him, like I was saying, is first base, catcher, DH. You're gonna get some quality at bats and some good defensive play.
Yeah, I think the Astros should look into trying to find a way to bring him back. I think it's just going to be difficult too, just for the fact of the season that he had, especially coming as a backup catcher.
Be a hot commodity.
Yeah, I mean he's going to get some interest from other teams out there, but I know I'm not saying it is a priority because of course that void could be filled with another backup catcher that's in free agent market. But the way that Caratini had brought himself for these past 2 seasons for Houston, I mean, it was a really good sign to see him playing some games, come up in some big moments, some clutch hitting. Of course, you saw some of the tweets that FSA pulled out there was like clutch Caratini because every time he came up to bat, I mean, shoot, in runners in scoring position situations, he's always coming up with a base hit with the bases loaded, runner second on third. 1 out, 2 out with a 1-run deficit or even a tie game. I mean, he always came up in the clutch. And of course, he's a good catcher to be behind as well for Yainer, just to learn from him, try to pick his brain. Obviously he got to pick Martin Maldonado's brain. Now he gets to pick Caratini's brain just to help himself develop as a better catcher. So, yeah, I think the Astros should look into getting him back. Is it a priority? I don't think it is a number one priority, but the Astros should, and Brown should figure out how to, keep care of the Astros.
In my opinion, I think Victor needs to stay because I feel like he's one of the best guys that's going to be out there on the free agency market. That you get overall value out of him. He's not a little too banged up. You got guys like Real Montu who's really getting there in age. You got Salvi who's getting there in age. Sanchez doesn't produce as much. You got Vasquez, you obviously know that his role will probably not be as high as a Victor Caratini role in Houston. A lot of the other names out there is not really nothing big. Danny Jansen, Elias Diaz, Thomas Nido, Barnes, Mitch Garver, Luke Mel, Jacob Stallings, Tom Murphy, and Maldonado. So if you kind of put it up there, Caratini is probably your top 3 top 4 catcher out there in the free agency.
Yeah, it's JT Realmuto first.
Yeah, for sure.
Salvador Perez has a club option, which I think the Royals would probably. Yeah, he's staying.
I think he'll be a Royal for life.
William Contreras again has a club option, but again, I think that Brewers picked that up for sure. And after that, it's guys that are just veterans, and looking at these free agent guys that don't have that are just unrestricted free agents. Victor Caratini is one of the youngest ones, besides Thomas Nido, who's 31, and besides Danny Jansen, who's 30, but he has a mutual option, right? But besides that, Victor Caratini is the youngest one out there. Everybody's in their 35th season, which will probably be 36 when they get to when they finish the season on the other side. So yeah, I think he's gonna be a hot commodity. But like you said, so if the Astros miss out on Victor Caratini, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. You still got Yanier Diaz, and I know it's a small sample size, but Cesar Salazar has shown some great promise too, offensively, left-handed as well, and that. But to me, is if the Astros didn't trust him to put him in, when one of the catchers was hurt, I think they might not be eyeing him as a long-term backup or anything like that, more like a third-string catcher, in my opinion. But this is what the Astros decided to do. I don't think Walker Yannick is ready, so they're going to need a backup catcher. So I don't know if they're going to roll with Cesar Salazar or try to, bring back Victor Caratini there. But another thing is, if they do extend Victor Caratini besides maybe 1, 2, 3 years, you're probably looking at Walker Yannick being kind of blocked a little bit and getting some at-bats too. So it's just kind of interesting to see how they play that.
I think if they keep Caratini, then that means possibly you could see maybe if Salazar maybe has potential being moved or let go as well.
Well, my hot take was if Houston finds a way to re-sign Caratini, then I'm like I said, it was a hot take. I'd say maybe knocking the tires on a possible trade on Yanier Diaz elsewhere besides the Astros uniform. And like I said, that just hot take, just to see if the Astros do re-sign Caratini. You look at the options of possibly trading away Yanier Diaz and developing Walker Yannick. So that was my take on that one for Yannick, at least, who's also playing in the Arizona Fall League, not to mention.
Yeah, well, another interesting point to bring in is that Dana Brown's not scared of bringing up young talent as well. I mean, you saw it with Cole, you saw it with Cam Smith, like you're seeing it with these young prospects, high-end prospects, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros. I'm not saying he's gonna be on the opening day roster, but I wouldn't be surprised if Miguel Ulloa makes an appearance this upcoming season. As a starting pitcher, but could be. I mean, if if this is where the Astros want to go, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that Walker Yannick. I know we're both saying he's not ready, and but again, the Astros might see something else.
Seems like we got a new gooner in the chat from South Carolina, the true Gamecock.
God. Which A&M is playing South Carolina ways, I think, from now.
Yeah.
Our alma mater football team has actually been playing good. So, but back to Caratini real quick. Just wanted to add, Steban, hey, you might need to go behind the plate, baby. Go show that arm. That pop time, I'm pretty sure, is thick.
Gonna throw him off on the knee, no pop time.
There's
the legs are talking since you've been doing these miles and everything. Hey, you got some big legs on you now, bro.
There's an infamous picture of Steban in a camo jersey, running around somewhere too.
I didn't go there with that one. But Caratini, I mean, if you look back on that contract that Houston signed him for in 23, 2 years, and this is offseason 23, 2 years, $12 million. I mean, they got a bargain on that, $6 million a year for him. And that's why I say if they can find a way to re-sign Caratini, and y'all guys have already mentioned some of the guys that are going to be free agents, I wouldn't buy out the Astros, maybe looking at Christian Vasquez again. Vasquez was a part of that 2022 World Series team. I don't think he's looking for a starting position at this point of his career, 35 years old. And the way that, that small sample size of that second half of the season for the Astros, I mean, he made a big, huge contribution to the team as a backup, especially with Maldonado. So, if it doesn't go well with Caratini trying to re-sign back and possibly you could look at Christian Vasquez coming back in the Nationals uniform again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Christian.
honestly, at that point, I'm not ready for the Vasquez move. I feel like at that situation, you're better off just giving Cesar Salazar those at bats and that
Agree.
playtime. The guy's already the guy's pretty much league ready to be a backup catcher anywhere in the league. I'm pretty sure. If you throw him out there, he could be a catcher number one or a catcher number two option. And with the Astros, it seems like he just can't get any playtime with all the guys that they have. Caratini, Yiner, they rely on them mostly a lot. So they really got to figure out what they want to do with him because you can't just waste this young guy's potential as well. Because when eventually they're probably going to brush him off for Walker Yannick.
The only thing I guess I'm not disagreeing with you right here, but just like to bring to a point is that Cesar Salazar is left-handed, and this past season the Astros were like, "Oh, we need left-handed hitting. We need left-handed hitting." Yet, so Cesar Salazar had opportunities to play, especially as a pitch hitter. Right? I know he was an emergency catcher, but there was so he couldn't really play if, like, say, for example, Victor Caratini and Yanni just went the same lineup. But when Victor Caratini was hurt, there were some opportunities for Cesar Salazar to come in and pitch hit. There was opportunities for it, but yet they didn't give it to him, especially if they were needing a left-handed hitter, right? So that's where I kind of question myself is like, do the Astros trust Cesar Salazar enough to, be the full-time backup catcher and get some, decent at-bats, or are they looking elsewhere, or do they just see him as a long-term minor leaguer? Which, I mean, he has a talent, like you said. I would agree with you when you said at any other team he can be a number two catcher. Number one, I'm not too sure, right? I guess we just got to see some more at bats coming in, but it's just, I guess, interesting just to put it out there. I guess.
I'll also add on to what you're saying, Angel. I don't disagree with Stepan at all because Caesar's already been with the Astros for a good while, since 22, maybe even 21.
Yeah.
But of course, in the organization, for a while in the farm system. I will say this: the Astros are going to have a young, I would say young rotation. Hunter Brown's still, development. This is going to be year 22, 23, 24, 20, about 4. Yeah, 4 years for him. Ronel Blanco, Hayden Wisniewski, just a new team as well. Spencer Rigetti, which we do not have no info on his status, as well as Christian Javier, which has been in the league for a while now. I think just having a veteran presence behind the plate could just help, even though Yiner could be a veteran, like y'all said, but just having a guy that's been in the game for so long, 10 plus years, I think it can help, with the catching depth. I'm not disagreeing with Salazar possibly coming into a backup role for the Astros, but I think too, just as safe to say, is just to have one veteran backup, behind the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm not saying Salazar behind the catch is a bad idea, right? Again, I can see it. I can see it working. Like I'm just, just stirring some, minds, thinking, just creating some dialogue of what do the Astros really want to do. But the other thing with Christian Vasquez is he did make $10 million last year. I don't know if that's what he's looking for this year, which I doubt it. His market value right now is at $1 million. A little lower than Victor Caratini. So again, it's just all about those contracts, see what they agree to. But just keep an eye out. I think adding Victor Caratini or Christian Vasquez again wouldn't be a bad idea, but the Astros got bigger fishes to fry and more needs to fill in the roster before they get a backup catcher.
Yeah, I think they definitely need to focus on the pitching before they do anything other than that. You know what I mean? Well, besides the fact of getting all the people that we're about to dive into in a second as well.
So did you want me to continue on with this top part, or you want to take over? I don't know.
Real quick, I mean, I could just take over real quick.
Okay.
Dana Brown and Joe Espada, before that press conference, everybody was speculating and trying to figure out, okay, well, are they done? Joe Espada needs to be fired. Dana Brown the same way. And of course, when the press conference came, Brown had spoken for him and Espada, saying that he's going to be the GM of the shows until further notice by day. Sure enough, yeah, stuck with those two guys.
Well, you're tweaking again.
So right when you're about to,
as soon as you tell him like it's your turn to talk, he's like still just start tweaking again.
Yikes! I think we lost Zoe again.
Yeah,
But
just rolling.
go that what?
So just keep it rolling.
Oh, okay.
Keep
Well,
rolling.
what Zoe was gonna say was basically like there was rumors, or not rumors, but there was a lot of talk with Astros like fans and stuff like that. Is Joe Espada going to be out and stuff like that? But Danner Brown reassured that he's coming back, and he also reassured that Joe Espada will be the manager for the Astros. He's still under contract. I believe is what he said. So, and honestly, I have to agree with that because what much can you do when you're having all these injuries? In your rotation, I think Espada did his best with what he had, right? Especially, missing a lot of pitchers with injury, not having Jordan Alvarez for a very long time, Jerry Pena out for a month, all these pitchers not having a left-handed bat for a long time of season. So I think he did his best with what he had. And we were even talking about early in the season how Joe Espada could be probably like manager of the year just because he did, what he was able to do with all these injuries. But I think at the end of the day, again, we always talk about it's a marathon, not a sprint, and sometimes when you're being dragged behind one of these injuries, kind of hard to sprint to that last end of the season. But I mean, I have to agree with that. I don't know what you're gonna add so on that. I don't know if you're back with us. Is he back? Oh, so what you got for that?
I mean, I feel like they're moving in the right direction with what they need to do. They obviously cleaned house with a little bit of things, so it's the right direction. The team was going. It was going, and then things just started hitting the fan. So you know what I mean. Whenever you got stuff like that happening, you're better off just kind of trying some new things. You know what I mean. You're ready to bring in other pieces to the puzzle. Might as well kind of take some pieces out and bring it back together.
Hey, so Kevin got you. He's gonna bring a hot spot over to you.
I need it at this point.
All right, but what were you gonna say about Brown and Espada? I don't know if you heard what I said, but if you want to add your 2 cents on that, that's great as well.
No, and that's what I was gonna say. I mean, what can you do with all the injuries? Yeah, that's something that Espada really couldn't control. And just think about it, honestly, if the Astros would have made the postseason, even as the last wild card spot, Espada would have got some, I would say, good amount of votes because of how he managed this team with a depleted roster. I mean, even the rotation too. You had to bring guys up from the farm. You had to, sign guys from minor league contracts that turned out to be major league contracts. I mean, Brown and Espada did their job. Brown, of course, in the trade deadline, what was the main focus? Obviously, was a lineup. You need some offense, and the Astros had no offense. They didn't have a left-handed hitter because Jordan Alvarez was out for a good amount of time, and they weren't going to know for sure if he was going to come back. So, what do you do at that point? Well, Brown went to go get a left-handed hitter in Jesus Sanchez.
It didn't work
out. For that particular part, yes, it really didn't work out. But what was the goal? To go get a left-handed hitter and to not give up so much of the farm regarding top 30 prospects to the opposing, team of whoever's trained with. And Ryan Gusto, I mean, the Astros seen what he's all about. They also traded away 2 more players, and Bryce Sanchez, like you said, Angel didn't work out really well. We'll just have to see what's going to go after with the tendering and the non-tendering, as we'll talk about soon. But Carlos Correa, think about that. I think that was a big acquisition for the Astros. Of course, they were going to take some of that money, but think about it. The Astros were looking at Eugenio Suarez, and look how that turned out for the Mariners. Second half of the season, Suarez really didn't have a lot of great numbers in that second half, and Correa almost had a 300 average in the second half as soon as he was traded to Houston. So I do condemn what Brown was able to do with that. Of course, you kind of put more depth in the infield with Ramon Urias. So nothing you can say. I'm honestly praising for those 2 guys. Espada did what he could with that roster, as well as Brown. Even the minor league contracts with De Los Santos and Craig Kimbrell. I mean, look what them 2 guys did. Look what Steven O'Kerr did in the beginning of the season to the end of the 25 season. So it's just unfortunate of the offense, how it was that second half. Of course, I mean, dog days of summer, August, September is usually when the Astros start to get hot. But at that time, the bats were cold. They would have a little hot streak, and then it just go downhill for them. So Espada can't go out there and take a bat and help them, or same thing goes for Brown. They can't do the job for them. They try to bolster the team. They try to do what they can, put them in a winning position, and That's just baseball for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely try to control what they could control. Spada tried to roll out so many different lineups. He had what he had. He couldn't really do much. He couldn't really force other guys to be brought up. He can't just magically pick up random people during the season as well. Obviously with the trade deadlines and everything going on. So, I mean, he controlled what he can control, and I tip the cap to him because the Astros were able to compete and have some really serious games with some competitional teams. So, at the end of the day, people couldn't stay healthy. People just couldn't hit the ball, and that's why the Astros are moving in the way that they are in this offseason by getting rid of other coaches as well. And I believe in that the Astros are doing the right job as well as letting the spotter ride out his contract just to see, you know what I mean? I mean, last year is okay. This year, he has all these problems going on, and he still did hell of a job for what he was accountable for. So, who's to know the next year he could have a hell of a year with the team if, say, people stay healthy and you bring in the right pieces. Because, being honest, the Astros didn't really make – I mean, they made some moves that prior to this season as well, but it was nothing really like, okay, are we confident with this? The only one you really, get real excited about is Christian Walker. But besides that, you're just like, okay, it's kind of the same team. You're kind of like, the struggles of the guys from last season that came back onto this roster. So you already know, okay, it's going to be a hit or miss. Let's just ride it till the wheels fall off. And guess what? The wheels started falling off. And that's where it was an eye-opener. Hey, we shouldn't have did that. We shouldn't have pushed it to the limit. But guess what? We had hopes that it was going to get better. It didn't get better. Well, guess what? You still live on. You live to see another day. And, people are going to lose their jobs and people are going to get new jobs. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Real quick, Angel, I don't know if you wanted to add anything before.
I'm good.
I'm going to ask both of y'all a question, and even the audience. This season right here coming up for the Astros in 2026, honestly, I think this is a season for – it's kind of pressing on Espada and it's pressing on Brown to see it's a make or break. If the Astros do good, possibly you could see an extension for Brown, and same goes for Espada.
Mm-hmm.
If the Astros, if it goes down south, then you could see possibly both those guys gone. And I mean, y'all can agree or disagree on that, but I think there's a little bit of press and a little bit of pressure for this upcoming season to see how the Astros will perform.
Yeah, I'd say postseason is a must for the Astros. I would say that. I don't think it's going to be sitting too happy on Jim Crane missing the postseason back-to-back years. However, based on job-wise, I would say maybe more Espada than Brown. I think Brown has done a really good job of, working with what he's got again. Because think about it, if Daniel Brown was with the Mets, he'll be making some aggressive moves. But because that is Steve Cohen's, willing to open up that wallet, open up that pocketbook, and do whatever he pleases to make the team better. However, on Daniel Brown's situation, he's with an owner who, I guess, refuses to give 6+ year contracts going over a certain dollar sign. So working what he's got, but at the end of the day, there has to be a scapegoat of why there isn't someone who wants to play off, and it starts with the manager, honestly, right? Because the manager has the more interaction with the players, in that clubhouse. Their job is to, make sure the guys are motivated, make sure there's smoothness in the clubhouse, that coach is there. And when things don't go well, the manager's usually the first ones out, unless they're not making moves or anything like that. But I think if it were to happen, I'm not saying they're both in the hospital or anything like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if it were, I would say more Espada than Brown, just because Espada. I think Brown's doing a really great job with what he's working with.
Stebby.
I also think one thing the Astros do need to focus on as well with this offseason. Well, I mean, since we had a down year this year as well, I think they, depending on how next year goes as well, is at a certain point, if it's just not looking really well, then they got to do what they can to, I guess, I would say, trade away and restock up on the farm. I think that's something big that the Astros need to target on, because the farm is the farm, and the Astros farm has always been slept on, and they're never really appraised our prospects as what they potentially pan out to be. So I think Astros, another big thing that they need to worry about is rebuilding the farm instead of kind of getting rid of all these guys. Maybe get rid of these big league ready guys that you have that are overwhelming the infield or something, or overwhelming the outfield. If you could get more return for maybe arms or what else you need, then do it. I'm all for it.
I'd say more or less. I think if the Astros have Jordan Alvarez, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve in the same lineup, I think they're in win now mode. I think like it'll be kind of hard to, you know, persuade a veteran Jose Altuve, especially Carlos Correa, to say, "Hey, we're building around you. Like we're gonna get all these young guys. You're gonna mentor them." I don't think. I think Correa would want out. I'm not saying I'm not sure about Altuve, right? But I just don't think when you have those guys in the lineup, I think you have a chance to win every single game. And I think yes, I feel like that's what the Astros are gonna do.
I would say at least players like guys that are coming up on their contracts of arbitration. Guys like Brian Abreu that can possibly be in that role, like Steban was saying. But Steban, you forgot you sort of missed the question. Do you think it's kind of a hot seat for this coming season for both the GM and the manager?
I did not hear a thing you said.
Oh, so he asked, do you think if the Astros will make the playoffs next year?
Oh, they move on from them?
Yeah.
I possibly think so. I'm not sure about really Data Brown because I feel like a lot of his moves are pretty good moves, but I feel like Espada would just get backlash for it. But I mean, what can Espada do if the owner of the organization doesn't want to open up his books as well? You know what I mean? So it's like at a certain time, like you can kind of point, but also you got to think the higher up as well. Like, okay, like there's only a certain amount of stuff that Dana could do, and then there's a certain amount of stuff that Espada could do as well. They could both influence things, but at the end of the day, they also got to go through Jim Crane.
Yeah. I think we were in agreement there. I think we both said that, like Dana Brown's job is a little more safer than Espada again. Yeah. And we both talked about that. Is that with us before I try to move on?
All right.
All right. So Brown said, again, he said that he wanted Caratini back, but he also said that the club will be in the market to trade for an arm. So that's interesting because, again, so like you just hit on how they need to, revamp the club, revamp the farm system. But then you have Dana Brown saying that they're in the market for an arm. And he's always said this since Dana Brown first came to the Astros. He said he's always in the market for pitching. And it just makes sense. I think these past 2 years showed you why that is the case, right? Injuries happen, especially now with pitchers throwing harder, using a lot more leverage and stuff like that. So it's bound to happen. Now, the interesting part is a trade. And honestly, if it were to trade for an arm, you're probably looking at some major league talent already. Maybe like a Chas McCormick or Ramon Urias or maybe in Zach DeZenzo, maybe like a younger guy as well, too. So I'm all for it. I think if you're the Astros, you always need pitching. It doesn't matter if it's starting pitching, relief pitching. I think that's one of the biggest things for the club. I mean, just take a look at the playoff matchups right now. You got the Mariners who have elite pitching. Dodgers have good pitching. So there's the Brewers have good pitching too. So I think that's going to be the recipe for success is having a good, healthy pitching rotation. And if you're able to do that, I mean, by all means. And again, trading for an arm. I don't know if you were here, but I was saying that if they're going to trade, it has to be something from major league ready talent. So you're looking at maybe Chas McCormick, Zach DeZenzo, Ramon Diaz. I mentioned those names because it was interesting that Esteban said that they were trying to, they should focus on revamping the minor league system, but yet you want to trade for somebody, so it has to come up from somewhere. So you're looking at guys like that who are maybe 2-3 years more of control. Maybe Jesus Sanchez, honestly, if it didn't work out for them, maybe trading him for an arm as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Xfinity after this pod because I don't know what the fuck's going on with my
get them on the line right now. Get them on the line.
I might have to at this point. God, I'm using my hotspot right now, so hopefully Verizon don't cut me off at this fucking point. But yeah, I mean, of course, the arm is like the biggest priority. We were talking about priority earlier with Victor Caratini. That to me, starting pitching is the priority. And I had mentioned on the before the offseason that came to a close that the Astros are going to have to look into 2 starting pitchers that possibly are veterans, and more than likely you're going to have to trade because, of course, you're maybe a little thin in the pocketbooks with signing a starting pitcher, and 2, you got some guys that you can trade via from the farm if any players kind of ring the bell for these teams as well. Like you are saying, MLB ready players. Chas McCormick, I think his time, this is my opinion. I think his time in Houston's going to be pretty done here in the offseason. I think he's going to be traded or released. Same goes for, like you said, Jesus Sanchez. That's an interesting one. I really want to see what the Astros are going to do with him because
I think it goes
young.
off of what happens in the spring training time, how they see how he's still moving around. I think that's where they're going to see if maybe, it's time to maybe let him go or something.
I think it'll be earlier than that.
I think it'll happen before spring training for sure. I think the winter meetings is like when everybody gets to talk GMs, see how they can make their teams better, agents, all that type of stuff. So Zach DeZenzo's a name. I think that could be possibly on the list. Jacob Melton, I have told both of y'all, I think he could be a guy that's probably going to be traded more than Breggy, free agent again. Yeah, I want to get that out the way. Let's close the book on that. And the Astros infield is just too cluttered.
No
right
room.
Now.
There's no room.
Yeah, so there's just no way in hell that Bregman's coming back. So all the fans that want Breggy back, please don't even think about it no more. But yeah, I think the Astros do need a trade for an arm. It's probably going to be MLB ready talent, maybe a prospect, maybe
three names that I'm kind of interested in for the arms. And said Astros do get rid of Framber.
Well, I mean, he's
already. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, I'm saying, well, he's gone. Okay, so like basically he's gone. And honestly, if I'm the Astros, I'm not too confident on Ranger Suarez. If I'm being honest, I'm not too confident on Ranger Suarez. He has his time where he's good, and the money as well. And that's more of a risk.
He'll be making more than Framber.
You might pay a good amount for him, and he's not going to be as good. So if I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at just weighing on the righties. You might have to have an all-righty team and maybe go for a lefty relieving arm if there's one out there. But I'm looking at Dylan Cease. Maybe you could fix Zach Gallen and get him for a cheaper price. I'm like that. And then definitely leaning a little bit on Shane Bieber. I'll stay away from Jack Flaherty and Michael King.
I like Zach Gallen. I think Zach Gallen could be a good one.
I like them three names. I just do not see Ranger Suarez in the national.
Yeah, I don't see it either. No, I can't.
I think,
but I will substitute a name for that and on the trade block. And I would think the Astros can potentially look at maybe Sonny Gray, veteran pitcher that's been with the Cardinals for a while. Of course, you got to see what St. Louis is asking for him. He was on a no trade clause, but at this point in his career, he's open to open that up and see what teams he would like to go to. A name that I really like for Houston, but I think is going to be a steeper price, is going to be Pablo Lopez. He just signed an extension with the Twins this past offseason. He didn't get to play a full season this past 25 season, but the stuff is there. Houston already got to see. Houston got to see him play.
Yeah, he is injured.
I mean, back-to-back seasons when he missed more than 5 starts.
I mean, but there's players that are going to miss some starts though too.
Yeah.
I mean, Framber was a workhorse. I'll give him that. Yeah, he was a workhorse. Yeah. He was healthy throughout the whole time. But with Houston, I mean, think about it. Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen missed some time too. I would think Sonny Gray could be the option, like I said, as a trade piece. Pablo Lopez, I think is going to be a steeper price because he's young. I mean, Angel could put that on paper that he has been injury prone in past seasons. But when he's healthy, I mean, gosh, he's a dominant pitcher. Yes, he is a dominant pitcher. And like I was trying to say, too, Houston already saw him in the postseason what he can do. Yeah. Twice.
My mistake. He has pitched 32 games from 2022 to 2024. Missed 4. Only had 14 starts last year. So that's my fault. But I mean,
you see, you're making me buy my own words. But yeah, I think that could be a good target for the Astros. Like I said, I think it's just money for that because he just signed an extension, and then plus the Twins. What are they going to be asking for a Pablo Lopez? Because
definitely
we mentioned the trade. That's what I'm saying. Like we said, the trade deadline, starting pitching and relief pitching, there's going to be a demand for it from all MLB teams that are in contention for the postseason, and it's going to be a high price. It can go for the same thing going into baseball winter meetings to the offseason. What's going to be the asking price for these guys?
I think we're at the phase as well where like a lot of these veterans are kind of getting out the way and getting washed now. So now what the league is kind of really looking at is these like mid-age guys to kind of step it up and be elite. And really these newer kids are starting to come up and you're starting to see these other guys take over the league now. We're at that stage where, kind of like in basketball right now, like, the LeBrons are kind of going out the doors and all this stuff. And now, the new guys are coming. So you're in that little phase with baseball as well where, all these veterans are not as consistent as much anymore, or not really the names that they used to be now. So it's like, now you kind of like, dang, where do I look? Where do I go to now? So, the market's not what the market was maybe 3-4 years ago.
A dark horse for me, I will say, is Merrill Kelly. He is.
Yeah, that's a nice
He's
name
like
too as well.
middle. He's a middle-aged starting pitcher, but I mean, seeing him with Texas this second half of the season, I mean, he looked really dominant. So
I'd take him over Jack.
He's a Houstonian, I think, not to mention as well. I think he's from the Houston area. I know he's a Texas boy, but I'm not 100% sure if he's from the Houston area. Though that is my dark horse for Houston. Veteran pitcher, good arsenal of pitches that he has. So
I'd say Framber's back. Framber will don an Astros uniform next year.
Damn. You're gonna have a heartbreak of.
No, I mean it's not a heartbreak. I'm just saying, hey, best available Astros.
He's gonna replace his coffee mug. He's gonna replace his coffee mug at work with hoop tea. Everything he's drinking coffee, but it's just hoop tea. Kid's gonna walk in on him during nap time. He's just never gonna wake up.
Go ahead, Angel, because I don't know if my fucking internet is gonna work. Right. So just continue on.
So again, we talked about Brown's looking for an arm. We have talked about how Breggy, Astros, I don't think it's gonna work out. So let's move on. Joe Espada on the offseason. This is what he had to say. It's going to be a fun offseason for us, trying to figure all this out and trying to put the best team on the field. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Right now you have a stacked infield. Like the Astros were fortunate they didn't have to worry about this problem earlier this season with having Isaac Paredes back because Jordan got hurt, right? So they were, it worked out on its own there. But next year they have Carlos Correa at third, Jeremy Pena at shortstop. Second base is still up in the air. Is it going to be more Isaac Paredes? Is that hamstring okay, though? I know he came back, but he was only DH. And he was in. I honestly don't think he was ready for the field, to be said true. Like those quick steps and stuff like that. You got Christian Walker at first base. Jesus Sanchez, Cole, Cam Smith, all in the outfield with Jake Myers, Chas McCormick, Jose Altuve. Yeah, so I mean, it's a good problem to have. Yeah, Dubon as well. Who again,
and you could just pray that Paredes kind of takes it easier in the off season. Just enjoys his vacation.
He's in Mexico watching.
And that's what I'm saying. But like, you better hope he takes it easy because come spring training time, the hamstring. He didn't get that surgery, so the hamstring is gonna be weak. So whenever it comes spring training time and he has to ramp it back up, there's a possibility that he could probably re-injure it.
And then the Astros at this moment, and I'm getting ahead of myself. They don't really have a medical staff right now, too. Like like a trainer, I would say. I mean, yeah, like a trainer. So Isabel is gonna have to do workouts on his own, right? So getting those things, which I'm sure he can do, right? But it's just like at the moment they don't have a guy checking up on these players, see how they're doing, giving recommendations and stuff like that. So. Yeah, a lot of things in the air. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's to be important. I mean, and it's a good problem to have when you have all this talent to try a thing. And honestly, I think it's going to be whoever has a hot hand whenever it can be, right? And whatever pitching matchups, whatever it works. Like, for example, Jesus Sanchez, when it's a lefty, probably not going to see the field unless coming as a pitch hitter, when it's a righty on the mound. But, when you have a young guy like that with so much power, you want him on the field all the time. So maybe – with some new additions, you can kind of fix that issue or something like that. I don't know. But again, fun off season. I think that's a good way to put it, just because you have all of these things you're thinking about. The Astros do have more money to work with now because they do have some contracts, so they can kind of make some moves. But I agree with you. So I think the biggest thing in this offseason is the pitching. I think once you get some pitching, because you have the talent on the field, it's just on the mound, right? Who's going to be up there all fight, every fifth day and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of these guys too, not to mention, could be traded as well. Like you're saying, with this stacked infield that the Astros have, two utility guys in the infield. That's honestly a gift for Houston, but at the same time, I don't think you need two utility guys in the infield with Urias and Dubon. So one of those guys could possibly get traded, as well as the outfield. Look how much outfielders that Houston has. I
Yeah.
mean, I just do not see Alvarez dawning in left field. I think the max of games he could play out there is going to be like 25, if anything, and that's giving him a big number right there.
Yeah.
But seeing him in left field after that freak injury running at home plate, you got honestly, in my opinion, you just got to wrap him up in bubble wrap because that's a guy you cannot afford to lose.
I think after this season, I think Jordan Alvarez has, the DH is his, is what I'm trying to say. Because I know they like rotating guys around in the DH, giving out two-way some legs, but I don't know how much you can take of having Jordan Alvarez in the outfield and just, like you said, just risking that injury, just freak accidents here and there with him. So I think DH is Jordan Alvarez's position now.
And before I finish and give it to Stebby, I mean, think about the outfield, like I was mentioning. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's overpopulated over there too. Not to mention I think the three starters as of right now would be Jesus Sanchez in left, center would be Jake Myers, and right would be Cam Smith. But think about it, you got Zach Cole on the come up. You got
I throw him in left
Jacob
over
Melton as
day.
well. Who else am I missing? You could throw Mauricio Dubon in the outfield if you really wanted to. Zach DeZenzo, Taylor Trammell. I mean, the names are out there, so those guys can either get traded, they could be non-tendered on their arbitration contracts. So yes, it's a fun offseason. It's a good problem to have, honestly, for the Astros, because you're looking at your roster and seeing which ways to get better. How can we use these guys in a trade? How can we move on with this team and let some of these guys go that we would want to keep? But at the same time, too, we got to put ourselves in a position to win.
I think the Young Bucks are going to thrive this season coming up.
If they're on a club.
If they're on the club, I feel like they should be able to thrive this in the Astros. I think you'll be seeing, Cole take over the at-bats mostly that Jesus Sanchez will be getting. And definitely Cam and Jake Myers, I'll be out there. So I feel like you could see potentially Jacob Melton and Cole kind of alternating more over Jesus Sanchez.
Yeah, and I know we're talking about how Chaz might be the odd man out, but I honestly think it'll be hard to trade him, just because
nobody's really gonna want him value wise.
So I'm seeing more maybe of a release.
DFA, yeah, DFA.
You can get a release, or you can try to get something. And it sucks talking about it like this because
cash consideration, maybe,
especially that big play.
Yeah, Chaz is a really good guy. He's a really cool guy to talk to on the field, but at this point of not even in his career, but just at this point of his Astros tenure, I would think you can try to get whatever you can from him at this point. Like you're saying, Steph, either cash considerations or a low end prospect that's probably not going to be high on the top 30 chart. So.
And I truly believe if Chaz gets onto another big league roster, that I think he could fill in a hole anywhere else. And there's a lot of teams out there that have way worse outfield situations, and with Chaz McCormick would definitely be an upgrade to a lot of teams around the league as well.
Yeah, and maybe with some decent at bats, he could do something. I don't know.
As far as the Houston situation, I'm kind of already tired of seeing him take the potential of these young guys, these at-bats that these young guys could be getting that obviously are showing more potential than what Chaz has been showing in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah. And then, more on Joe Espada. He's also planning to having dinner with Carlos Correa to talk about spring training and how the team should move forward. And, he kind of expanded on that. It's like, why is he having this meeting with Correa? He's like, and this is what he had to say. I personally like to empower some of our leaders to have a say in how we're going to address the aspects of our game that we need to address. So Carlos will be in the middle of those conversations. And this is the reason why Carlos is here. Literally. The reason why he wages no trade clause, the reason why Jim Cray was adamant he wanted Carlos on his team to provide that leadership role, to be the guy in the clubhouse. Like, now, I know Altuve's still there. I would say they're both up there. I think it's a tie for first. I guess you can say if you want like that. Like they those two are both the leaders of the clubhouse, and we talked about numerous times how Altuve leads with his actions, Correa with his words, right? But I think this is just like a right move for Joe Espada because we talked about it, right? Joe Espada's job is to create, this culture in the clubhouse, to create this, I guess autonomy.
It's like an open door policy almost thing
Yes,
too.
that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, having autonomy for the players to do, speak their mind, see what they got and stuff like that. So I think this is a good move just to, and they're both from Puerto Rico, so I'm sure they're probably chilling somewhere by the beach, having some dinner, some seafood, Puerto Rican seafood or something. I don't know. So yeah, but like it's good. I think it's good. I think good things are coming for the Astros. So if you're an Astros fan, I know your Astros fans are pretty upset they missed the playoffs, but I think some great things for next year are to come.
I'll tell you what, Carlos Correa is going to be one of the best future Houston Astros coaches. I feel like the Astros will give Carlos Correa a coaching job later on whenever he retires, which I believe he will do a hell of a job.
Yeah. I mean, shortstops, catchers.
I mean, I think Albert
cool.
Pujols is trying to get a bid with the the Angels, and maybe
the
Orioles.
Orioles, maybe.
Yeah, both teams. So I mean, kudos to them. Whoever gets him, I think Pujols would be a pretty good coach as well. But I don't see him as verbal as a Carlos Correa.
Yeah, Correa is a very intelligent human being. I mean, I think he graduated the top class of, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Carlos Beltran Academy before obviously he got drafted with the Astros. So yeah, very intelligent, young. I mean, I'd say he's still young man, young player.
Yeah.
But like Angel said, yeah, I mean, this is the reason why Carlos is with the Houston Astros and able to speak his mind. And like he even said it after not making the postseason and winning 162 over there in Anaheim, he gave a message to Houston saying, and to the Astro fans, like, this is not going to happen again. We're sorry. We want to be in the postseason. That's why Correa came back to Houston, because he thought he was going to have another chance of playing in that postseason atmosphere that he's been able to see on TV. Of course, you remember that time that he was an analyst on TBS and saw Jeremy Pena having so much success in 2022, asking him questions. I mean, he wants to get back into that atmosphere of being in the postseason. Of, like Angel had mentioned, Astro fans are not used to not seeing their team in the postseason. Every year, Houston has been in the postseason since 2016. So this is something fairly shocking and new to them to try to figure out what to do. I mean, even us talking about the Astros with the podcast, I mean, usually we're talking about breakdowns and recaps and, analysts for ALDS, ALCS. And look, we're talking about dinners and seeing what food they're going to be eating at the beach. But yeah, I think, and for Carlos too, I don't think, this is just me speculating, just me, in my opinion, I don't think he had that opportunity to do over there in Minnesota, having the keys to figure out what needs to be better with this team, what needs to happen, how can they improve, all that type of stuff. And Houston, I mean, he has a great relationship with Joe Espada, has a great relationship with the organization itself. And when he speaks, I mean, it's heavily owned by all the players. All the players kind of listen and feed off of it. And I'm pretty sure too, the manager, coaching staff, as well as the inside of the organization, front offices and all that, like to hear what he says as well. And Angel is muted.
You're muted.
But I thought someone was gonna say, but it looks like he's concentrated somewhere else, right? But like, I guess the biggest topic we meant to talk about, and I'm sorry it took an hour to get there, is the Astros cleaning house, right? Both Astros hitting coaches Alex Intron and Troy Snicker are out. They also parted ways with catching coach Michael Collins, also with assistant general manager Andrew Ball and head athletic trainer Jeremiah Randall, because his contract expired there, so they did not bring him back. Now, looking at these moves, right? These are parts of the Astros where I think the Astros struggled a lot hitting, right? Making those adjustments. And, there were streaks where they were good and there were streaks where they were bad. Boston said that Alex Bregman came with a lot of bad habits too over there too. I think catching was one of, it's crazy how that fell off from 2 years ago. Yanier Diaz and Caratini, I think, had like the lowest percentage of getting guys out at second, and then general manager Andrew Ball, I mean, I don't know I don't have much to say about that. But I think the biggest thing was head athletic trainer Jeremiah Randall. I think that's, I guess it was mutually right, but I think that's a change the Astros were wanting to make as well, right? Just because, it was kind of hard to say what was actually wrong with the players. Were they ready to come back? I don't know. Maybe there's some inside things we don't know about that, right? But I think the moves that the Astros needed to make on the coaching staff were made, and it's just going to be it's going to be an important offseason for the Astros. Getting the right guys as hitting coaches, getting the right guys as a catching coaches, getting the right guys in the system and this organization to turn it around for the Astros.
Yeah, and you could bet that's going to be a really, really, really tough thing to do. I mean, getting players is getting players. You know they're going to perform, but getting a coach is just like, you don't know how he's going to do. How is he going to connect to the guys? Is he toxic? Is he a drinker? Or, does he influence? I mean, it's just certain things like that. You know what I mean? He could be an unhealthy coach, could be a toxic coach. You just don't know. You don't know how guys take on their work environment or their people around them, their surroundings, how they treat players. You know what I mean? You know how you had Dusty Baker? He was more bribing players, not bribing players, but, rewarding them with, foods and this and that. Are you going to find a coach like that? Or are you going to find a coach that's going to be like, hey, do this, do that, go. You got to do your job, go. You know what I mean? That's something that you don't want. You want your coaching, you want your base coaching, your catching coaching, all these athletic trainers. You want them to know everything. You want them to be on top of everything. You want them to be to T. And, how do you go upon looking at like, oh, this guy's going to be the guy, When you're looking at free agents for baseball, you're like, okay, look, I have film on him playing. I know what he has. I know his potential. But coaching is like, there's nothing. There's no, like, you can't really like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to work. It's just all trust or mutual agreement and interviews. How are you going to trust in this guy to actually come in and do his job with this team? And how maybe this guy might not even like the Astros organization too. Some of these guys are like, oh, well, I'm just going to go for the money.
Let me break down real quick the team, hitting statistics. This is coming from Fox Sports. Batting average wise, the Astros were 11th, tied with the Marlins with the 250. Batting average, runs scored for the Astros. Of course, that wasn't a good category for them. They're ranked 21st. This coming from all Major League Baseball teams, all 32, with 686. Home runs, the long ball, 16 with 182 home runs. On base percentage for the team, the Astros were 15 with a 315 OBP. Slugging percentage, Astros were 14, 399. And stolen bases for the Astros were ranked 24, only with 85 stolen bases. So, of course, we had talked about with the hitting coaches, both Cintron and Snitker parted ways. New voice is going to be coming into this clubhouse. It could be in-house. It could be, Astros, obviously, the coaching staff between Espada and, as of right now, Omar Lopez and even Dana Brown are going to be looking at some other candidates to come in. The assistant general manager, Andrew Ball, that was a James Click hiring. So I was interested to see that, to see how that was going to unfold. I think Dana Brown had let that one go until his contract had ended. And for Ball to be gone, now Dana has the opportunity to hire somebody else under his helm to see who's going to be under, be his side man to discuss these types of acquisitions, these trades that they could be looking at and all that type of stuff. And of course, we already know about the head athletic trainer. I think this goes back from last year with Kyle Tucker's shin fracture, that it took 3 months for the Astros to finally figure out that there was a fracture in his shin. And even this year with Jeremy Pena, he had a bruised rib. I think it was diagnosed as in the beginning. And then all of a sudden he had a rib fracture and they had to miss a month. So I'm not saying that was all on the head athletic trainer, but of course you had saw this from last year. And then even in this year, how it transpired to see what these injuries were coming upon and how they were being diagnosed. So new changes. I think it's good for this team. Hitting coaches as well. Yes, Cintron's been with the organization, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 9 years. Snitker for maybe 6 or 7 years as well. So, I mean, credit to them too. I mean, during their time, the Astros were able to win the World Series. They've gone to the World Series so many times. But at the same time, too, you need some new voices. Last year, you saw how it was, and then even came on to this year. So,
do the Astros look at Manny Ramirez?
I don't know.
I'm gonna just say a no on that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. I didn't even
Well,
know
I mean,
Manny Ramirez was a hitting coach.
well, I mean, it's something out there that they said that he's ready for, I think, a hitting coach role.
Nah, I wouldn't say Manny. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm nothing against him,
Yeah.
but I would rather, if you're the Astros, I think you would rather have experience
of
with these
course.
players instead of just coming out of the room and just saying, "Hey, I'm ready for a job. I'm ready to help these guys hit."
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's my take at least.
And we
I mean,
got what?
I see a couple names, but I mean, there's really no like list of people you could really look at for like public, I guess.
Try to figure out how to steal some of those guys at Philly because
Yeah,
that's a great offensive team. Try to find
Yeah.
a way to get one of their hitting
Or
coaches.
even the Blue Jays. I mean, the Blue Jays 18 hits today.
Yeah, Blue Jays. I mean, try to find a way to get one of their assistant hitting coaches out the way. You saw how Houston carried 2 hitting coaches. Maybe Houston can find a way to interview some of those hitting coaches out
I
there.
think Mr. Mars might open up his books and bring somebody in.
Oh, Anthony Morris had a question too. I think it said, "Will the Tigers let go of AJ Hinch?" Well, buddy, I can just tell you and shut that one down for you. He already got extended by the Tigers.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
There you go.
I mean, the Astros already have a spotter too, so there's
Yeah.
no
What
way.
about? And I'm pretty sure they're gonna re-sign Tarek.
I mean, he's under contract.
Yeah,
Man, they could try to give him an extension.
Yeah, extension.
yeah, but I mean, important off season coming. I think this is one of the most important ones that as of late. Just the Astros have a lot of hosts for, and like a lot of business to take care of this offseason. It'll be interesting who they hire. And then once those hires are made, FSA boys will be live. Giving you our thoughts. And our updates on that as well. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see who they got, and I'm sure those meetings with Carlos Correa they're also going to be talking about potential hitting coaches, potential things that they can do, who he liked and stuff like that. So I think everything's going to be on the table, open. I guess everything's be an open book, right? And everything's going to be just talking about it. So again, it'll be interesting to see how that happens, how that goes. But we're moving on to the next segment, or
Yeah.
It's almost connected.
And I joked around saying this would be a quick one off air, but we're already an hour in, so
I told you from the get go. I told you.
And we do have some questions coming in before we move on. When is the pod having a meet and greet again? I don't know, maybe closer to spring training, maybe at a big city wings or what?
Yeah, I mean we could be looking into doing some different things too. Maybe in the off season, try to do something. I don't know what, but I'm trying to talk about it. Well, we'll talk about it off air. Maybe.
How does Joe go from being manager of the year to one of the worst? Well, missing the playoffs, I'd say that's the biggest one.
I don't think he was the worst, but
yeah, I don't think he was the worst either.
He just missed the playoffs. I think he would have had votes, like I mentioned.
But yeah. Do you want to do the next segment though?
Real quick. I mean, since we're on the topic of offseason and stuff like that, and when it comes to that, you're looking at arbitration players that are on the Astros roster, and if you're going to tender, you're not going to tender. And I'm not talking about the dating site, Esteban. I know you're looking at me like, you're thinking about tender over there, but no, talking about the tendering of players' contracts. But per MLB trade rumors, the Astros have an estimated about $66.7 million due to 16 arbitration-eligible players on the Astros roster. If you remember last season, the Astros did not tender the contracts of Mr. Jose Urquidy, and I believe they did another player as well. I just can't think of it at the top of my head. But we're gonna pick up the image that is coming from MLB trade rumors, like I had mentioned. It was on my thing, but of course, like I was saying, with the Wi-Fi and all that piece of crap internet, I'm gonna have to call them tomorrow. And this is who the Astros have on the right number. It should be an estimated number, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the left number is, I think what I'm not 100% sure what the left number is, but this is a projected $5.8 million for Dubon, Stephen O'Kerr, $2 million, Garcia, $2.2 million. Urias, 4.4.
Are you talking about the number on the 5.162?
Correct.
That's service time.
Thank you. Brian Abreu, $5.9 million. De Los Santos, $2.1 million. McCormick, $3.4. Paredes, $9.3. Sanchez, $6.5. Myers, 3.5, Pena 7.9, Brown 5.7, Yiner 4.5, Wisniewski 1.5, Souza 1.1, Trammell 900,000. So let's go one by one. One of these players, we could just say tender, non-tender, nothing like that. Don't have to be that complicated. Unless you say non-tender, then we will ask why. But Mauricio Dubon, let's start off with him. I think the Astros are going to tender his contract. I don't think he will be non-tendered. Guys, can we all agree on that?
Yeah, I agree, especially coming off, a Gold Glove nomination. Yeah, I think
Stebby.
I think he'll be tender.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, Stephen O'Curd, $2 million, and I'm gonna say yes on this one too. I would tender. I think he did a really good job with. I don't know if it was a major league contract or a minor league contract that Brown had signed him in last offseason, but being able to pitch left-handed pitcher as well. Of course, Houston doesn't have a lot of.
They come in some pretty big roles as well for the Astros.
And coming in some big roles, like you were saying too. I mean, I think he did a fabulous job. So tendering for him is not a question for me.
I think so too.
Luis Garcia.
No.
And for me on this one, I would say non-tender. And it's hard to say that because you would really want to see him strive and keep on going. But the second Tommy John after that injury in Toronto, it's just unfortunate. That's going to be some money if they do tender. That's just going to be wasted money. And
you should already know your mistakes with Lance McCullers as well. You know what I mean, with the injuries, and it's never ending. It's kind of like you don't want to take another risk on another arm like that as well.
Yeah, I think it's to be a Jose Urquidy situation where he gets, released because, like Lorenzo said, it's a waste of money paying $2 million guys for a guy who is not going to be pitching this season. So, non-tender.
Ramon Urias, that's an interesting one, $4.4 million. I'm gonna say tender because this could be a guy that can help the infield depth around, but at the same time could be also a trade piece coming into the winter and even early spring.
Yeah, again, this is me just speculating. Like, Mauricio Dubon might play a little bit more outfield if need be, right? So you always need that backup infielder. So tender as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard because both of these guys are freaking dominant in the infield. Really, like if you play Urias and
Glovers.
Yeah, they're really nice out there. They flash the leather really well. So definitely tender. These are the guys that you want on this roster for sure for situations where people get injured like last season.
Yeah, agree. And for sure we can all agree on this one. Brian Abreu, $5.9 million tender.
Yes,
that's
sir.
not
I'd
worth
say
question.
Need to be an extension. I think they were smart. Maybe 2-3 more years. Maybe buy out that last arbitration year.
Yeah, I believe 26 will be his last year. This will be his last year in arbitration. Yeah. I think he'll be a free agent next year. So I agree with you on that. They need to find a way to get him extended. De Los Santos, that's an interesting one. $2.1 million. This is a guy that the Astros just signed in August or in early September because the bullpen was in need of help because of Josh Hader's injury.
Non-tender.
None.
I will say non-tender with both of y'all as well. Chas McCormick, $3.4 million. A non-tender, sadly, yes, because I think the Astros outfield is already pretty much crowded with a lot of young bucks, like Stebby had mentioned, and McCormick has struggled in the past 2 seasons. So, yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, non-tender. Isaac Paredes, I think that is without a doubt a tender.
Unanimous,
because,
yeah.
The way, if he didn't have that injury in Seattle, that second half, I think Houston could be in the postseason. I think this offense would be different, be flowing different as well. So, yes, Paredes.
And honestly,
go ahead.
I'll just say, I guess it's safe to say, I think the rest would be tender, you think?
Yeah, Jesus Sanchez, 6.5.
Yeah.
Non-tender.
And this is, a little non-tender right here. Stebby, explain.
That's tough. I don't know.
Explain,
it's not real confident in the guy anymore. I don't know, man. It's kind of like you're wasting money whenever you got somebody that can't hit the damn baseball. Like, you're a baseball player, you're going to hit a righty and a lefty regardless. So, why are you going to waste money on a guy that can't hit a lefty and only can hit righties whenever you have other guys that you could be throwing that change onto them or even the pitchers? You could be throwing that money towards them. So,
to be fair, the majority of pitchers are
And
right-handed.
also the glove is not that good as well. Think about it. The glove is not that good. Besides the maybe he's gonna hop up and maybe rob a home run here and there. He's gonna drop like 30 freaking balls. He's gonna misread like 20 balls. So I mean, you're gonna have to pick your poison right there. You're really gonna waste a little bit of money on somebody that's gonna cost you another extra base of a runner from maybe just second to third.
I'd
That
say
is a
Tender.
strong. That
Yeah.
is a strong summary of how Stevie
Feelings,
feels
soft,
about Jesus.
yeah, strong feelings.
Now, I'm agree with Angel and Tender on this one because I mean that second half, yes, it was not the prettiest for Jesus Sanchez. I think Astro fans, the organization itself, was looking for something big with him, but you already let go of these hitting coaches. Maybe this new hitting coach
Yeah.
or coaches come up and give him a better result, as well as the outfield coach. Think about it. What Jason Bell did with Cam Smith, and we're already kind of getting a little too ahead. Cam Smith is a Gold Glove finalist for a position that he wasn't even playing a lot throughout his
Told
whole
y'all.
career in playing baseball. Don't tell me nothing, boy. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Tender on that. The number for sure is gonna be different. Like I said, this is from MLB trade rumors. This is not the numbers that they are gonna get. It's just the estimated number what they can see with these guys. But Myers, Pena, Brown, like Angel was saying, Diaz, Wisniewski, Souza, Trammell. Can we all agree on Tender? I might disagree on one, but can we all agree with some of them?
Yeah,
I think
Majority of them.
the only one I would,
Souza.
I think, I guess the only two I would disagree with are maybe Trader Trammell and Bennett Souza. I think everybody else is Tender.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
me
think
too as well.
Trammell for me. Trammell for me would be one because, like I mentioned already with the outfield. Souza, I think he's just done a really good job in the Nationals uniform. I think he's done a
Yeah.
really good job. I mean, 1.1 million. That's not a bad.
Yeah, when
number.
we at the price, yeah, it's not really.
Of course, we
nothing-
don't know
Yeah.
how the numbers are going to be because, of course, they have arbitration hearings if the team and the players don't settle on a figure. But I wouldn't let the door go on Souza. I think he did a really good job with a really loaded left-handed relievers in the bullpen. So I would say Tender on him. He's really done a really good job in the Nationals uniform.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
They did-
I can see that
yeah,
too.
Yeah, they did pretty well.
But that number for Hunter Brown, 5.7, I think that one's going to be, even for Jeremy Pena, them two numbers that are estimated can go a little higher.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
7.9 for Pena,
they played their eyes
5.7
off.
per Brown.
I guess Jeremy Pena gets 8. Hunter Brown maybe 6.
Shit, he could get, I think he could get 7. I think Brown could get
Yeah.
7.
No, but I think there's a percentage that they can go up on. I think that's the thing. So I think Jeremy Pena can get like maybe in the 15s, honestly, but I don't think he can go that high based on his arbitration. I think it's only a small percentage up and a small percentage down as well.
Man, I'll tell you what. All this tender, non-tender. After
You
running
see?
9 miles, boy, I need some damn chicken tenders.
Damn, now you got to get the protein in somehow. God.
But let's move on here. Astros have 2 Gold Glove finalists. Yes, 2. And honestly, when I just heard 2, I was kind of a little disappointed because I felt like Jeremy Pena played hell of a year at shortstop. So that's where I was a little disappointed. Yes, you got Bobby Witt and all the other names, but you can't go besides that. Pena played a lot of games at short, and he did really well. So I mean, that one kind of bothers me. But right field Cam Smith in his rookie year, not a traditional right fielder, was brought up as an infielder, third baseman, transitioned to a right fielder in his first season of the big league, and was able to finish as a Gold Glove finalist. Ranked first in zone rating, .900, second in fielding percentage, .992, and tied for third in assists, 6. Among AL right fielders in 2025, and third in defensive runs saved with 12. 1 out above average as well. So how do you guys feel about Cam Smith and this Gold Glove finalist thing?
Well, he has some tough competition, I would say. He has Willie Abreu, and I believe who was the next one?
Dolis Garcia, if I'm not meant.
Adolis Garcia. I'd say the biggest, I guess his biggest threat would be Wilbur Abreu, just because he is really good defensively. I think Cam, but could be second, but it'll be impressive just because, again, like you said, not a outfielder in his career, just his first year, but being able to do that, playing a new position in the major leagues, that's impressive in its own right. And I think if he wins it, I think it'll be well deserved, but pretty tough competition there. And Jerry Pena also won it in his rookie year too, I believe too. So I mean,
yeah, first rookie shortstop to win the Gold Glove.
Yeah,
but back to Pena. I just want real quick on Pena. Yeah, I agree with you, Stevie. 8 outs above average. I'm looking at his defensive statistics right now. 6 fielding run value, defensive 10.6, defensive run save 5. Yeah, I think that guy really should have been in the contention of being a possible candidate for this Gold Glove. But yeah, it's unfortunate at the end of the day. Got to move on with that. But with Cam Smith, I mean, wow. A guy that never played an outfield position. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he played it in the Cape Cod League. If I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say, other than that, I mean, coming up, 32, 33 MILB, these minor league games, playing his first full season with a new organization, playing a new position that he had to learn in spring training, which, remember, spring training is about like 3 to 4 weeks. And really, it's more than likely for 3 weeks for position players, because 4 weeks are really for the pitchers, get there a week early before all the positional players. But being able to go do that, learn a new position, and continue to learn, soak all that knowledge from other players, from the coaching staff. I mean, credit where it's due. I mean, the kid did a really good job playing right field, and he's only going to get better, honestly. He's only going to get better. Of course, I think the infield, he can put that infield glove to the side, maybe even in a case, because I don't think he's going to use that glove anymore.
Maybe take the lacing out of it.
Yeah, go get one of them not spider webs, but you know which one I'm talking about, Angel, the outfield webbing glove.
The trapeze.
The trapeze. Yeah, yes, the trapeze. Yeah, go get one of those studs. And with the competition, like y'all were saying, Adolis Garcia, he's won one. Of course, Wilyer Bray just won last year's Gold Glove. Being able to have your name just being a finalist on that award, that just means a lot for the Rook. And does he get it? I don't know, but just being on there,
I don't think he gets it. But
yeah,
to be on that name,
exactly, being on that list.
If he's able to get on that name as a rookie, and it was his first year, and he pretty much was learning the whole year, you can just imagine second year, that's his. That's gonna be his. If he plays, he should come into next year a way better outfielder, and at that point, I believe the Gold Glove will be his next season. But as of right now, no, I don't think he has the upper hand on it, just because Adolis and Willier, the whole bigger name, they're veterans. They're a little more into the league a little bit. I don't see them really giving it to Cam this season, but I believe future he will be a good glover.
Well, this is Jeremy Pena's, like, for shortstop was Corey Seager, Taylor Walls, Bobby Wood Jr. Like,
yeah, that's the one I was trying to, with the nominees.
Corey Seager is crazy. Taylor Walls, but Corey Seager, that's a good name to beat out.
Would you consider it a snub that Jeremy Pena's on the list, I guess?
That he wasn't on this year's list? Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely he was snubbed. I mean, dude, you could see how many freaking web gems of a plays that he had this year. I mean, the dang Jeter jump throw that they're praising, thinking that Anthony Volpe was going to take over the captain spot and do all this and that. That crap's in Houston, man. This guy's over here making all these crazy-ass plays at shortstop in Houston, not over there in the Bronx. They got the wrong guy figured out over there, calling Jeter and making a big old thing on social media like they're going to hand the key over to that kid. And, man, that kid's absolutely buns.
Man, we got Stebby on a heater today.
I know.
Man. I love it. I love the fire, though. I love the energy. But like Stebby said, if Smith doesn't win the award, that's just going to feed hunger to the kid. That's just going to make him work a little bit more harder. I'm pretty sure he's going to be working harder this offseason with this offensive approach. Of course, first full season in a major league team, not being able to play a lot of minor league games. So best believe this offseason, he's going to be focusing a lot more, I would say, on the offensive perspective. But once they announce the award winners for this Gold Glove, he's just going to get more food ready to eat going into spring training to get better and learn more as well.
Okay, I said that man worked up. I wonder why. Me too. What's going on,
I
Seven?
think both of us. He might
Another
want to do
little,
another 9 mile here in a second.
just a little riled up about these Gold Glove finalists. But another person that was on this list, utility man, one and only, Mauricio Dubon, which this one's really expected because this guy does not skip a beat. Wherever you put him, he's gonna play and he's gonna make a web jam. Whether it's an infield, whether it's first base, third base, freaking right field, center field. Shoot, whether he's a fan, he'll probably still make a web jam out there, just freaking catching the ball in the outfield stands. But ranked third among AL players in outs above average with 19, behind only Bobby Witt Jr. and Cedane Rafaela. But just being in talks with Bobby Witt Jr., a freaking juggernaut of a shortstop, and obviously to the MLB, that's a juggernaut of a shortstop to them. That's good names to be with. And imagine if Dubon was an actual starter on a team that was not a utility player. I mean, you could just imagine what the names he will be praised with. But I mean, obviously the bat is probably not going to be as consistent. But the dude is a freaking animal. He's a dog. And he also as well had 14 defensive runs saved. So Doobie, I really hope the Astros could keep him. I mean, the Astros could keep him in an orange jersey for as long as they can, because this guy is just a good guy to have energetic wise around the team, around the ball club, and especially around these young kids coming up. This is somebody that, like Bryce Matthews said, when as soon as he came up, Doobie took him under his wing like he'd been knowing to do this whole life.
Yeah, Dubon,
Yeah,
I think this is a no-brainer. Real quick, Andrew,
yeah.
this is a
Go
no-brainer. I
ahead.
think he does win the Utility Man Award. He was the first one to win it in 23. I don't, after missing it last year, which I honestly think he should have won it. I think who had won that one? It was
I
from
think it was
Seattle.
him.
No, Seattle had won last year's. Um, Man, I can't think of his name. I think Dylan Moore, if I'm not mistaken, had won for Seattle last season. But like you're saying, Stepan being there with Bobby Witt, and then Cedane Rafael is another guy that plays the infield and outfield. But more than anything, he's been playing more center field this season. So you're putting your name with an infielder and an outfielder. That's pretty insane. And what he's, like you were saying, what he can do, you could put him in this position, this position. I mean, that's the beauty of having a utility guy. And the Astros have had that since Marwin Gonzalez had donned an Astros uniform, and having that with Mauricio Dubon, and you have a utility infielder too right now with Ramon Urias. It's pretty cool to have. So, yeah, without a doubt, I think he does win that award.
Yeah, Ernie Clement from the Blue Jays, Mauricio Dubon, Astros, obviously, and Daniel Schneemann from the Guardians. I think, like you said, I think Dubon has a really great chance of winning that award, and I'll be well deserved for, honestly, either one of those three. Either one of those two. I think Cam Smith, again, I think he'll finish second, but he has a good case for himself as well, too.
Luis Garcia, another Tommy John. Right-handed pitcher Luis Garcia underwent a second Tommy John surgery on October 1st, as well as a repair of the flexor tendon in his forearm. And that's just, I feel for the guy. I mean, the guy's.
I guess we can just end it at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the final thing that we're probably going to talk about, guys. I mean, if you are to see what we had in front of us, proposition for this episode, I'm sure y'all would have been done in 15 minutes. And, the way that we like to talk about the Astros and everything, we appreciate y'all, an hour and 20 in, staying with us on a Wednesday night. And, just baseball playoffs going on, all this stuff. And I'm still here interested listening to the Astros, giving us y'all precious time. So we really appreciate y'all. New guys, same guys. I mean, we love and appreciate every single one of y'all equally.
Yeah, absolutely. I was waiting for you to go, but no, yeah, absolutely. I thank you for staying tuned, and we have some great fan interaction as well. So we appreciate all your voices, all the support, and again, sticking to us as well.
Yeah, like both said it. I mean, they did a really good job with the interactions, the dialogue. We keep on saying we debate. I mean, we're trying to put our take. We let y'all take on what you want to say too, and we do a really good job letting that happen. We love the interaction, of course, and we just love talking about baseball. Baseball is the best sport, and this is just me. I'm very biased about this. I just love this sport. I mean, baseball is always in our blood. Of course, you have Steban, who donned a beautiful camouflage jersey, like Angel had mentioned earlier on. Angel, of course, high school.
Back in my Hooks days.
Hall of Fame Sunday Leaguer over here that finally decided to retire from Sunday League. We
Play
got him
golf.
on the side too. Now he's playing golf. So yeah, I mean, we love talking about this sport, and of course, with the Astros being the team that we are, that we're accustomed in this city that we live in. Yeah, we just love to be able to give you all the information, the insight, our predictions, and all that great stuff. Anthony Morris, this is my favorite pod. You know what? I love you, buddy. I love you.
Hey, when
Even
we
though
golfing
you did,
again?
even though you did beat me in fantasy football, I still love you. I still.
I beat him this year.
Yeah, fantasy football right now and updates. But all our teams are not doing good. Yeah, I think me and you are 2-4. Shout out to Malik Neighbors, ACL, helping me out on that, and Mike Evans hamstring. Yeah, that just didn't go well.
Shout out to Joe Burrow for ruining my running back.
I'm just tanking this year. You know what I mean? Just casual tanker this season.
Stebby on the 1-5 streak. Right now. Yeah, I mean, we just started last year, so
I'm tanking for the first round pick. So
for Jamar Chase again.
Yeah, trying.
You're right. He did have the first pick. Anyway,
Bijan. I should have taken Bijan.
Anyway, we appreciate each and every one of y'all. Look at that. You're already going to have a trade coming up. A lot of people are probably going to veto that. But anyway, we appreciate each and every one of y'all being able to be on this episode. Hopefully next week we could be with y'all talking about some Astros baseball. If not, maybe we'll get a little World Series prediction here and there. And of course, we're going to look at what's going to happen in this offseason to figure out what we plan to do. Like y'all were asking for a meet and greet or anything like that. Maybe we'll do a live episode somewhere with the BCW area.
Or maybe in the Full Steam Goon Cave.
Or the Full Steam Goon Cave, apparently, that Stevie had mentioned. So what we'll have to definitely see, but we'll keep you updated with that. Yes, the icons on the right, that's still a work in progress, apparently. But as Instagram, FSA Full Steam Ahead on TikTok and on Twitter. And of course, on our YouTube channel, we are there. Make sure you like, rate, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, of course, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any details, as well as on the audio side of it with Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Make sure, like I had mentioned with YouTube, like, rate, subscribe, give us some feedback, give us a rating on the podcast of the audio part of it. But Stebby, you said it best. Angel, you said a little bit, and I'm gonna say just not really said my input. We'll talk to y'all maybe next week, and if anything comes up big as the Astros related, we'll make sure to let each and every one of y'all know. Till then, y'all stay safe. Y'all have a blessed rest of your week, and hopefully y'all have a great weekend as well.